Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it today because today I'm going to be talking about 100% rating and how hard is it to get there? What's it take to get there? This is a question that's posed in many different ways, but I wanted to share a little bit of insight on it and my thoughts on the 100% rating, whether it's permanent and total or just the regular scheduler rating that takes you to 100 but not yet permanent and total, and kind of shed a little light on that as well. So please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff, because it helps to get the word into the hands of other veterans who need it, and I appreciate all the support. So with that, let's jump into it. If somebody came to me, which they do, and they say, hey, how do I get to 100%? I've never filed a claim before, or I'm getting ready to get out of the military, or I've been out for 20 years, or, there's a whole host of different scenarios. And the first thing that I would say is to everybody listening is it's really very nuanced, the veteran kind of claim process and what it takes to get to whatever you deserve. And I think understanding that helps to alleviate some of the irritation, not all of it, but some of it, because everybody's situation is a little bit different and not everything is cookie cutter, right? So you could have two people that have been out for 20 years each, and they look back in their time and they're getting ready to file a claim. They never filed a claim before, and their circumstances and their journey through the VA process is going to be different, even if they have the same identical conditions. So they may be filing for 5 of the same things, but what they have as far as evidence could, be drastically different and create a whole different host of issues, problems, or easy pathways, or what have you, with regard to their VA claim. So at the end of the day, it's a very personal journey. And the one thing that I want everybody to understand is that do not compare your claim process and journey to somebody else's, because nobody's the same. I mean, very rarely are the circumstances going to be exactly the same. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but most of the time they're going to be a little bit different. So with that, what I'm going to talk about is first the mindset of going to 100%. Okay, and I've talked about this in other videos before, so I guess I'm just going to double tap for some people, but for some people it'll be new, so that's good too. And the more that we do the thumbs up and all that, it'll get into the hands of other people. So the mindset is the most important thing, because oftentimes what I see is veterans will self-segregate out of the opportunity of 100% rating. And what I mean by that is they will think to themselves, well, I can walk, I can talk, I have both hands, both feet. I am definitely not the picture in my mind of what a 100% rated veteran should be or look like or feel like or whatever. There's a whole array, right? And so we tend to, at least in my belief, as veterans, we have this funny thing about us to where, somebody else always has it worse off than we did, right? So the example would be, the reservist says that, well, I was only reserves. The active duty person says, well, I was active duty, but I never went overseas. I was never deployed anywhere. Then you have the person who goes, well, I was deployed, but I only went to Japan, or I went to Germany, or whatever, right? Went to some different places. Germany now, not then. So I went overseas, but not in combat. Then it's, I went overseas and I was in combat, but, I was back a ways. I never really had any, I never saw the white of the eyes or anything like that. I was, I went, I was in combat, we had some mortars fall by us, a couple times, but that was really it. I went out on some convoys, I came back. I engaged, but, it was, whatever. So the story keeps going. It's like, somebody always had it worse. And I think that some of that rolls over into, our after military service, into our veteran service of, hey, somebody had it worse off than me. Save it for somebody else. And that's the wrong attitude first, because if we want to help our brothers and sisters that are coming behind us, we need to participate in the benefits that are available to us today. Otherwise, they'll disappear, right? We all know this, right? We've all been involved with the military, and we understand if you don't use it, you lose it, so we have to use these benefits that are afforded to us so that that way they'll be there for those behind us. So that's one. The second part is that 100% piece. So we tend to think that 100% is reserved for the most catastrophic circumstances. Now, a lot of you watching this channel and other channels already get it, but for those that are new, this is really important. 100% rating is deceiving because 100% is not the maximum rating that a veteran can get. It does not pay out compensation at the highest levels that the VA looks at. And what does that mean? That means that, in your mind, you may think that the 100% rated veteran is the person that was rolling down the convoy, got hit by an IED, missing limbs, not doing well, and that they're 100% rated. No, they're most likely on one of the schedules in the special monthly compensation rating schedule that's there for veterans, and it pays out triple the amount. They're probably receiving some sort of adaptive housing situation from the VA. They're probably getting, if they can drive with adaptive car, they could get a car through the VA. So there's all kinds of different benefits that belong to that person. Most people don't qualify for the special monthly compensation. Most veterans will qualify to the 0 to 100% rating schedule. So mindset opening in that is important. The second piece that helps to open up the mindset is now that you've cleared out the 100% really isn't the worst case scenario. It's not the maximum. Now that you've cleared that out, now it's important to understand what's actually claimable. What can you actually file a claim for? A lot of veterans will kind of think that it has to be a disability. It has to be something that is really limiting. It has to be something that is typically an injury. And yes, those are claimable. You can claim those and you can file for those and get those service connected, but also things like heartburn, GERD, bad heartburn, right? There's sinusitis, rhinitis, arthritis in my back, insomnia, ringing in the ears, tinnitus, motor tics, right? So if you have like a twitch, that's a motor tic, and that is rateable. So there's all kinds of different things that you can be rated for. What it boils down to is really three things. You have to have active for a service-connected condition. Three things is what I kind of boil it down to. One is a time in service. You have to have time in service. That gives us a window of opportunity, right? The VA is only going to grant you things that are kind of related to your service, right, in one way or another, and I'll explain that in a minute. So time in service gives us our window of opportunity. Number two is a diagnosed condition. We're really good at self-diagnosing. That doesn't mean anything. You have to go to the doctor and get diagnosed. Now, that diagnosed condition must be chronic in nature or have some sort of residual effect, right? It can't be, I had this problem, now it's gone and I'm 100% better. You're not going to get compensated for something you're 100% better from. So your condition has to have some sort of chronic, ongoing issue or residual effects. The third thing is a nexus, a link between your diagnosed condition and your time in service. What the VA is looking for is show me that it started, began, developed, something happened to you, whatever, during your time in service. What they don't mean is show me that your military caused this, your military service caused this problem. They're not looking for that. Now, if it did, it did, but that's not the primary thing they're looking for. So, for example, show me that my migraines or my bad heartburn is a result of my service. It's not. Mine isn't, at least I believe that mine is not as a result of my service. It just manifested during my time in service. So that's what we're looking for, right? Now, here's the beauty of it. You do a head-to-toe analysis. Now, here's my take. The military does a horrible job prepping you, and the VA does a horrible job prepping you for this as you're getting out of the military. as a whole. There's always exceptions, some because it's a people thing, right? So there may be a person who works for the VA that went to a TAP class that really laid it out, and you're good to go as you transition out. But for the big picture, it is definitely not the norm. It's gotten better. It's not there yet. The ideal situation is that, in my opinion, and what I tell people that are transitioning is, look, if you, as the transitioning service member, have 4 months, 3 months, 6 months left, you should do a head-to-toe analysis inside and out and document everything that you have going on with you, and go get seen by a provider, a doctor. Get somebody to diagnose you for everything, whether it's, I did hurt my elbow when I do push-ups, or when I do sit-ups, my back really hurts, or, my knee got jacked up, or I have heartburn, I have migraines, I have sinusitis, whatever. Get seen for everything while you're in service, because now that automatically creates the nexus, because the timeline is within your time in service. What happens is that if you don't document it and you get out of the military and years go by, now you have to build a bridge back to that time in service. And that's where you're going to hear things like Nexus Letters. Getting your doctor to say, hey, this condition is more than likely to have occurred during his time in service or as a result of his service, and here's why, and here's my rationale, and what have you, right? So that's the Nexus Letter. Now, that's a whole other video, and I could talk forever on this stuff. So I'm going to try to stay focused on saying that we can prove the condition. You need to have your mindset open to every condition that you can file for. Don't leave things on the table. It's ridiculous to do so. You would not leave stuff on the table for any other benefits that you were afforded. If you worked for a company for 20 years and that company had a whole benefits package for you, and stock options and all this good stuff, you would not leave it on the table. You would take it. These are the benefits that you earn from your time in service and putting yourself into a position to where you're writing a check payable till death. So because you put yourself in that position, the government is affording you this opportunity to partake in these benefits, right? So one is being all-encompassing. The second piece to 100% is secondary conditions. You could have a back condition, lower back, that's rated at, say, 10 or 20%. Over time, that condition gets worse. You could look for an increase in it, but it can also cause other issues like hip issues, could cause radiculopathy going down your legs, numbness and tingling, could cause arthritis, could cause insomnia, which compounded add into other ratings as secondary ratings, a rating for the insomnia, a rating for arthritis, a rating for the radiculopathy. So secondary conditions become very important. So with that, it's opening up the mindset, filing for everything you can on service connecteds, and then going in for all of your secondaries. So with that, I'll go ahead and end it. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.